Hello everyone, it's July, so obviously I'm wearing my jumper, and in this video I want to talk a bit about, I've written some notes so I remember, craft fairs and workshops. Are they worth it? And other reflections on my previous month working self-employed, my second month. So in June I did 2 workshops and a craft fair. So I'm going to talk a bit about those and then just some reflections on other things that I've been working on as well. So the first workshop I did was focusing on, it was a card making workshop that I did at our local craft shop, the Mulberry Bush, and we made 2 cards, like a fold out greenhouse card and then a stamped palm house card. And it was more work than I anticipated to prepare for them. So I was charging £25 a person for the workshop, which was 2 hours long. And I did ask a few people for feedback on the price when I emailed out about it. One lady said, "Oh, that's very expensive. Like, I wouldn't spend £25 on a workshop. There's a cost of living crisis," which is fair, but I mean, I do also have to charge that much to cover the cost of the venue and the materials and the time. And one lady said, "Yeah, very fair price, happy to pay it." So I had 6 people come to that workshop, which is £150. So less £30 for the hire of the space, and then it was probably about £15 worth of materials. And then, to be honest, it took a lot of time to prepare. So I spent an entire day designing the cards and trying to get them right so they looked appealing and fun to make, and they would use enough variety of materials but wouldn't be difficult to do in under 2 hours, and that people would enjoy. So it took a whole day to do that, and it took another day to kind of, I don't know why I'm so slow at this, but it took like basically an entire day to like put together all the materials. I typed out the instructions and put them in the pack so people can refer back to it, and also to kind of help me as I'm teaching if I get a bit like, you know, sometimes your brain just like goes, ugh, and you don't know what you're doing. At least I've got my own instructions, so I could be like, okay, we're here, we're doing this bit now. So that was another day, and then the workshop itself was 2 hours, so it's 16 hours work. I worked out that that was about £6.56 an hour I was paying myself, which obviously is about half the minimum wage. But you can't put a value on things like seeing and connecting with people in person, and you know, the enjoyment of spending time with people crafting. And you know, if I look at the bottom line, the fact is that it was £105 that ended up in my bank account that wouldn't have been there if I hadn't run the workshop. And we're talking small numbers here because I'm still kind of starting up, still a beginner with my business really. Even though I started StickerKitten in 2016, it's been kind of a real background type thing. Even though we've worked on it a lot and we've achieved a lot, it's not, we've never asked it to provide an income until now. So it never has brought in heaps and heaps of money. So I'm still dealing with very small sums of money right now when I talk about income. And then the next workshop that I did was part of the craft festival. So I had 3 people come along to that, and it was only an hour workshop, so it was £15 a person. So I took £45 for that, which is good. And it was a quick workshop, so I didn't have too much prep. I didn't make up packs this time. I just took along all the materials in one bundle and gave them out to each person when we started the workshop, and that worked much better for that because it was only an hour. The project that I designed, it was a slimline card and a tag. It was really simple, and it didn't take too much prep. So even though I had fewer people, it felt like a lot less work for that one. But I guess it could just be also because it took me a while to get back into the swing of running workshops and preparing for them, because I haven't run one since I had my children. So that's since I was pregnant with Leo, so that's 5 years ago. And the craft fair itself, the craft festival, I was in two minds about. So I took along papers and stamps and embellishments. I will show you some pictures actually, if I shrink myself down here. There we go. Photos. Oh yes, so I'll show you first. This was the workshop card we made, the quick 1 hour one. And I brought along papers and ephemera, and everyone could just pick their own. Here's me with my StickerKitten apron. And then outside in the marquee I had a stall. As you can see, the weather for June was rainy and windy and slightly stormy, so typical. So this was a charity fundraising type event. It didn't cost me anything to have the stall or to run the workshop. So Kate, who runs the Mulberry Bush shop, set up the event for local kind of crafters and artisans to come along, and we had a raffle and raised money for the West Berkshire Food Bank. So it was a really, really nice day. I really enjoyed it. When I set up, I really wasn't sure how many people were going to come along. It's the first time that we had run an event like this in this location, and it was set up a matter of 5-6 weeks before, so we really didn't have long to advertise. So I was concerned about the footfall and if it would be worth it, because again, there was the preparation of pulling all of the materials out of the stock cupboards, you know, grabbing all the paper packs, the stamps, the embellishments, and then there was kind of dedicating the whole Saturday to the event. But I actually think it went really, really well. So I took £136 on the stall, which for me is really good. I was really pleased with that. And importantly, it gave me a chance to connect with other crafters too. So people came along that often shop at the Mulberry Bush or that had signed up to workshops other than mine on the day. So there was a glass fusing workshop, there was a ceramics workshop, there was a crochet workshop. So people who were interested in other crafts came along to the event and came into the little craft tent and had a look around and did some shopping too. And when I remembered, I asked people if I could take their email address to add to my mailing list. So hopefully that can help me to build some connections with customers in the future as well. So I sold paper packs, stamps, lots of stickers. You can see at the front I had a little clearance box. There's nothing wrong with the stickers, we just decided to change the materials we used after we'd made those ones. So I put all of those in clearance and now we make them out of a waterproof, splash-proof material instead. I also brought ephemera and embellishments. I also brought planners, which you can see at the front over here. We didn't sell any of those, but I didn't expect to because it wasn't really a stationary planner type audience. It was, yeah, kind of papercraft, knitting, crochet, ceramics. We had a mixture of ages of people. So some people came with their kids because there were kind of little making takes. There was a bead stall for the kids to make bracelets, and a mixture of older ladies who are the typical kind of customers that I usually find, retired ladies who do card making, scrapbooking, and also like knitting and crochet. I also found it was a really kind of lovely atmosphere, just really great to talk to other small business owners in the quiet spots. And I felt really proud looking at the stand and seeing all our designs laid out like that. It makes me kind of, when I feel like I'm not getting anywhere, it kind of made me reflect on what we have achieved over the years and all of the products that we've made, and how nice I think they look. So I would say that for me, this turned out to definitely be worth it. I've done fairs in the past, especially when I was selling just cards before I ever made any Papercraft products, where I've taken, you know, like £20 in a day. And at the time I was kind of okay with it because I thought, well, I'm only selling handmade cards for £2 a go. So I think there's a lot that I've learned over the years about what type of fairs will be worth it for me. So this, I took a risk on it, but knowing that it would be an audience that are specifically interested in Papercraft who come to Kate's craft shop anyway, I hoped it would be a good event, and it was. The other craft fair that I try and regularly do is at Shaw House in Newbury. They run a local artisan craft fair over Christmas, and I don't take Papercraft stuff to that one. I take earrings and mugs and tea towels because people are shopping for gifts there. So it's worth being aware of the audience, about who will be shopping, about how widely the event has been advertised. So I don't do school fairs, for example, because I know it's mainly parents with kids who have just a bit of pocket money to spend, or they're looking for kind of, fun things like a tombola, and they're not looking to kind of spend a lot of money on higher priced items, and it's unlikely that there'll be enough people there interested in Papercraft, for example. So just over time I've come to understand which fairs are worth doing and which ones aren't. So my advice, if you're thinking about fairs as well, is to just ask some questions of the organizer. So what is their footfall typically like? Do they have any idea of the demographic of people who come along to the fairs? If you know your customers, if you're already an established business, you can... One of the things that I did was email out to people, but filter the email based on the location. So I emailed around to people within, I think it was a 50-mile radius of the event, to let them know about it, because I have people on my mailing list as far as America, but obviously for them to receive, like 3 emails about a craft fair in the UK is not helpful to them. So I did that. And yeah, overall I found it was worthwhile for me. I really enjoyed it. So that was that. It did take a lot of prep though. What else do I want to say about June? I found it a hard month in terms of actually fitting work in. So at the start of the month, had a bit of a cold going round, so we had some illness. So Leo and Orla's grandparents were ill and they couldn't have them for a few days. And then in the middle of the month, I had just the most ridiculous headache of my life. Like, I don't know what happened. I don't know whether it was a migraine. I've never had migraines before. But I basically had like a 2-day migraine and I was just in bed. It was over Monday and Tuesday, which are my working days. I was so like bummed that I couldn't do anything. Like, I just basically had to sleep until it went away. And then at the end of the month, Orla had a sick bug. So yeah, I was just kind of up with her in the night, catching puke on my hands, as you do as a mum. Thankfully, she's better now. She has gone to her grandparents today, like she usually does on a Friday. So this is my one working day after, like a week and a half of not being able to do much. I do fit things in when Orla naps. So if she's sleeping on me, I can use the laptop one-handed, or if she's sleeping in the buggy, I can get a few things done on the laptop. But it's not the same as having a whole day to kind of really focus. One other thing that I found helpful is that I try to fit in some artwork when she's with me. So I'm trying to spend a lot of time developing my traditional artwork skills as well. So we've got out the pencils, we've got out paints, and we've just been kind of doing bits and pieces. So she likes mark making, drawing, scribbling, colouring, in a way that Leo doesn't really. Although he has had fun this past week drawing and colouring on a box with paint sticks. So I found that I felt a bit better doing something creative when I've had Orla with me. I've felt kind of like stressed out for a lot of the month as well. I don't know whether that's down to having, like just these run of illnesses for everybody, and also feeling stressed that I couldn't like spend the time I wanted to on the business. But also I've just been doing my usual thing of overthinking, like, am I focusing on all the wrong things? Like, at one point I decided to start up my Patreon again, and then I was like, oh no, I can't really fit this in. So I published my page again, and then I unpublished it like 3 days later, and I'm just like, what am I doing? So I still feel a bit like I'm flailing around. And then like I do have like a plan for what I want to work on, but day to day, even if I'm working on what I plan to work on, I just feel a bit like, is this the right thing? And there's no right or wrong answer to that, I guess. I'm trying to like reframe my thinking as, like, this is a career change. So I've gone from working in publishing, being a business process manager, to being like a creative business owner, sort of full time. And that is a career change. I'm trying to develop my illustration skills, my design skills. I'm trying to make contacts in a new industry, and all of that takes time. So I've had 2 months of work so far, 2 broken months of work. And I feel like I've maybe demanded a lot of myself in that time, and that I've tried to add in too many things, which I'm sure was last month's reflection as well. But yeah, I'm trying to now think in terms of the bigger picture of like, where can I be in a few years' time? When I've been doing this for a few years, like, how good will my illustration work be by then? Like, how much further ahead will I be than where I am now? And I don't think it's just a case of me churning out new products, although I do want to make new Papercraft collections and more stickers. But I think it's a case of like, I don't know, just letting myself grow in this new role, like this kind of designer illustrator type role. I think I've also been a bit unrealistic, thinking, oh, when I leave my job and do this full time, I'm going to feel perfectly happy. I'm going to feel so like blissed out every day working on what I love. And I do feel really happy and really grateful that I get to work on that. But I also feel the pressure of it a lot. And I think it was naive to think I would just magically feel, perfectly calm and relaxed all the time. Now that I can choose my own hours, I don't. I feel the pressure. But it still is only 2 months in. And I think if I had started any other employed job 2 months in, I still would be giving myself a lot of grace to make mistakes and feel like a newbie and feel like I hadn't found my feet yet. So I'm trying to do that with being self-employed as well. One thing that I did kind of think about, I watched a webinar, a free webinar with a business coach who was saying, if you really want to make your creative career stable and sustainable in terms of income, you need to have an offering or a few offerings that are at least $300 and above. And I'm just like, I sell like £3 sheets of stickers, like, what have I got that's $300 and above? So then I was like, okay, well, are we talking about art licensing here? Do I need to work on my portfolio and have designs which I license for a few £100s, as well as the product side of the business? So at that point I was like, okay, no, I need to get back working on my portfolio. So I started doing that. So I will show you that as well. So here, so this is on my website. If you go to the design tab, there's a copy of my portfolio here, and it's been there for a year now. I kind of didn't realise how long I'd left it before I worked on it again. So I added some more to this, and I changed the images that were there. I did have some mock-up images that I'd taken from POD sites, but I switched them out for some of the Papercraft images like this, because I think that gives like a nicer feel of the collection and what's possible with it. I also added in some more collections, so I added in the succulents patterns, I added in the celestial patterns, and Dala horse as well, because I really wanted to have this the Christmas range in there, and this is nice and bold, which I love. I really love the Dala horse range. So that's where I've got to so far, and I have started to email out companies just to be like, you know, like, hi, I'm Sarah, I'm an illustrator, designer, we make Papercraft products, but we're interested in licensing our designs to be used on other products. Would they be interested to work with us? It's a very competitive market, and I hate the whole pitching thing. I hate like cold emailing people and just being like, oh, look at my work. It's like really awkward. I don't know if that's a British thing, but I just feel it's like really awkward. But I mean, you know, where else do you start, kind of thing? You can't just sit around and hope someone accidentally stumbles across your work and think, oh, that's nice, you know, I want to put it on some wrapping paper or whatever. So the companies I've emailed so far have been companies that make wrapping paper and greetings cards, because that kind of fits with the Papercraft angle that we already have. I'm not expecting any responses. I saw an interesting comment on Instagram a while back from a lady who said, I'm aiming to get 100 rejections this year, like 100 rejections or 100 no responses. And I thought that was a really great way to put it, because even if you get absolutely nothing, you're like, yes, I've nailed it. But the point of that is that, you know, she will have bothered to send those 100 emails, those 100 pitches, and at the end of those 100, you know, what are the chances that one of them is a yes? That someone says, yes, I love this design, I want to put it on tea towels or wallpaper or mugs or cushions or, I don't know, anything really. So I'm aiming for the same mindset of like, can I collect 100 rejections? Because then, yeah, if nothing else, at least at the end of it, I will have I'll have tried, and also I'll have a spreadsheet of names and email addresses, hopefully, that I have tried as well. And it's not just like a one and done deal. I will keep emailing when I make future collections, not in a pesty way, but, you know, maybe like every few months, just to say, okay, I have a new collection designed, you know, would this be of interest? Because, you know, people are busy and they're not ignoring you out of rudeness. It could just be that they don't need anything right now, or it could be that they're not looking for that season right now, or it could be that you don't have what they're looking for this time, but you happen to have hit the right thing next time. So it is what feels like a big game of chance, and it's a new industry for me, so it's exciting to put together this portfolio. As you saw when I looked through, it's mainly the illustration work that James has done for our patterns so far, with my watercolour stuff mixed in. But as I develop, I will start to add in my own collections as well. So I can show you actually what I've been working on last month. As you know, if you've watched my previous videos, I'm part of Christina Hullkrantz's collection club, and each month we design a new collection. I haven't been pitching these yet because I don't think they're quite good enough, but I'm getting there. So this was the collection that I did last month. I'm really pleased with this scallopy type, lacy type pattern. So the theme was Peach Wedding. I like my confetti pattern. I like my ideas for these three. I think they can make nice greetings cards, but I really need to work on my lettering. Also the face isn't quite right on this, and the cake's maybe a bit wonky. So I think before I would pitch a collection like this, I would tidy it all up. So I would redo the text, I'd redo the face, I might think about redoing this cake in vector and having it neat instead of having the hand-drawn look. And then here, my happy wedding day lettering, I would work on that to make it more even. I like the hand lettered quality of it, but it does need to be neater, like the spacing needs sorting out. But otherwise I think I'm getting better. And then last month's collection was a woodland theme, so I did this little sort of farmhouse cottage type pattern, and then the bunnies one I liked. I turned these into stickers, which I'll show you. So even though I feel like I didn't get much done, I did manage to do some new sticker sheets. I haven't listed them all yet. Where have I put them? Here we go. So I've listed the bunnies. I've listed the trees. And then the 3 I worked on Wednesday while Orla was napping are these. So I've got foxes, the farmhouses, and then the flowers. I'm really pleased with the flowers. We don't have much floral stuff in our collections, and I do want to do more floral type stuff. Like our next paper pack, I want to be a floral type collection. So I'm pleased that I managed to make some new stickers. I want to change the headers so they all match and have them as like a woodland type theme. And then I possibly will develop this into a woodland papercraft collection. So as you saw when I showed before, I've got patterns for it which I can use for the paper pack. I've got these elements which could also be used for ephemera, and then I just need to add in some sentiments. I'm still in 2 minds about stamps. I don't know whether I'll make more stamp packs yet, because they cost the most to produce and they sell less frequently than other products that we have. So I'm still in 2 minds about stamps, even though I love designing them. Yeah, I'm still thinking about that. There were other stickers that I designed as well, which I haven't released and I might redo. So these I really like, but they're too small. So these here, these yellow dots, are the teeny weeniest stickers in the world, and the sheet is too small. I stuck them down as a test. I did like a sort of little test page of how would I use them, and they're a little bit small, so I might not list this for sale. I might redo it as I did it as like one of the ClipIn journal type ones, but I might redo it as a bigger sheet and make it part of a papercraft collection, because I was thinking if I do a floral papercraft collection, I quite like these colours, so I could have it match and then redo the stickers as part of that like collection release. I did also do the other in the last video I was talking about the ClipIn stickers that I wanted to do, which are now listed, and I did a couple of test pages with them. So these are the journal stickers, the jungle theme ones, and they come on a sheet like this size, which will clip in to our StickerKitten planners or to a Filofax. So this is a Filofax personal size, which is my main planner at the minute, and then I like this one for kind of like testing stuff out and journaling and that sort of thing. And then we've also got these scripty stickers, which again come on that size sheet. So James made those 2, and I got them listed, so I was pleased that we did that. I did like a lot of design work to try and get the journal sticker sheets right. So this is my design for a 2-page kit, which we haven't done yet. And I don't know whether to do it or not, because I did the little one-page kit, like, yeah, this design, which was what we did for the jungle one, but I thought they were a bit small. They only really work in sort of that, you know, that smaller size planner. So I wanted to do a 2-page kit, which would work in like an A5 size bullet journal. And, you know, it has the days on there, and it has those bigger pieces. So like these, where am I pointing? Here, these like big corner pieces here, I thought would be more like, let me show you, more like sort of the bigger chunks that I did. This is from my Skillshare class when I tore out big bits of paper for the journal page, and I did like these big corners here, so those stickers would be more like that size, which would be nice. And I also thought like a 2-page kit feels a bit more substantial than just the single page, so I'm still like umming and ahhing over whether I make that or not. I guess it's hard to know if there's a market for these things. Like, I know journaling is popular and journal kits are popular on Etsy, but I don't know if it's what it is that appeals to people, if it's the fact that it's a journal kit, the shapes of the stickers, like if they like that torn edge look, or if it's the particular patterns, like whether people really like that kind of pastel pink, lilac-y, serene type look, whether bright and bold is not as appealing to most people. So I feel like I'm fishing around in the dark a bit with some of these things, but never mind, trial and error. What else? I also managed to fit in a little bit of practice with gouache last month. So I was, for a while I thought my next Skillshare class would be on how to make stickers, but then the more that I thought about it, the more I just think it's more complex to film than I thought. There are so many different elements to it, and ultimately I think the people watching it are not going to have the same equipment as we have. We've got a Sizer Juliet, which is a big £500 sticker cutting machine. It's not, you know, I mean, I know the Silhouette and the Cricut are still expensive, a few £100s, and it's far more likely that people have those. But I didn't know if it would really have that wide an appeal. And also it is mainly James who makes stickers at the minute, so I feel like I'd be kind of like stumbling my way through the video like, oh, I think this is how we make stickers, but I can't really remember. James, can you do this bit? So I thought it might be a bit awkward to film. So I thought maybe instead I'd do the next Skillshare class on gouache painting techniques for card making, because I've got a couple on there which are watercolour techniques for card making, and they're doing okay. Each of those classes has over 100 students now, which is really nice, so I'm really pleased with that. Obviously I want thousands of students, but over 100 is a really good place to start. So I started designing some ideas, so I thought maybe we could do like a craft card, and I've painted a wreath on here. I ordered some new gouache paints in bright colours, so this bright pink, this bright turquoise, and this almost neon-y bright green, which I think are really nice colours, so I might do that. And then in my sketchbook I was playing around with some ideas for other cards. Where are we? So here I wondered whether we could do something that was, you know, like a dark background with light on top, or whether we do like a silhouette, or whether we try light on pastel, or whether we do like a chunky effect and stick in some gold leaf, or I don't know. So I'm still playing around with ideas for what would be appealing for to put on the front of a card. So I think I'm trying to get out of the mindset of I'm not good enough. So I'm like, oh, I'm not an artist. I can't do a class on how to use gouache paints. I'm like, well, I've been using gouache paint. I've been practicing. I make cards. I can make a class if I want. I'm not saying like I'm some sort of incredible artist, but I'm saying that I have some cool ideas for how to use gouache on cards, and I feel like I can make a class on that. So I'm trying to kind of quieten down the negative self-talk in my head that says you can't do that, like you're not qualified or you're not good enough, and just be like, shut up, I want to. So yes, I'm hopefully going to fit that class in this month. Anything else? Yeah, I want to work on a new Papercraft range as well, although just before I started filming I had a bit of a thought about it, because I was like, oh, I'm gonna do a floral Papercraft collection. I've sketched it out. This is how I start all my designs, just on a piece of paper. I super roughly sketch out what I want to go in a collection before I start any artwork. And then I got a bit like, oh God, when am I going to fit in all of that? And is it going to be nice? And is it going to, you know, all of the usual thoughts. And then I was like, shall I just start a bit more simply and build up the collections we've already got? So we've got some paper packs which don't have matching ephemera yet, for example. So in Collection Club, this month the theme is bold, folksy florals. So I wondered whether I should design like a sort of ephemera pack to go with the Pretty Stitches paper pack that we have, which I can show you on the website. Because I thought it would be nice to have so for the Pretty Stitches paper pack, we've got farmyard ephemera, rainbow ephemera, and then the kind of kits. We've got these cute wooden buttons that we made when we had the laser cutter. But for this paper pack, I thought, wouldn't it be nice if we had some really kind of nice, bright, stitched effect, colourful flowers to be an ephemera pack with some sentiments. And then instead of trying to be like, right, I've got an entire massive new range to launch, I can just be like, there's just a small new ephemera pack to launch that matches this range, and here's the cards you can make with it, and here's a new card kit if you wanted to get it all in one, and then just do some kind of content, some videos, some classes around like using the papers and the ephemera together. So I might do that, but then I still want to do like a new range of paper packs. When it comes to printing paper packs, it's more cost effective for me to run quite a few new designs at once. So to the printer, it doesn't matter whether you're printing 200 of the same thing or 50 of 4 different designs, for example. But it works out more economically for me, for example, if I send 4 different paper packs to press and they run them all off together. So that way I'm holding stock of like 50 of each paper pack rather than 200 of one design. And yeah, I'm still talking about small quantities here compared to most product-based businesses, because we're still kind of growing. We still have like a relatively small following. When we started out, I was selling wholesale, and I was selling on the TV shopping channel Hachanda. So for the Bee Garden collection, for example, I think we printed like 600-700 paper packs, and we still have some left, like a lot left, probably like 300-400 packs. And holding that much stock now just seems kind of silly, but at the time we had to print that much in order to get the cost per unit low enough to make the wholesale prices work. You know, when you're just starting out in business, you think like, oh, this is what everyone else is doing, so this is what I have to do. So yeah, I did start out selling wholesale and printing in wholesale quantities. But now, at the minute, I'm mostly selling direct just to customers. I'm not supplying anyone wholesale at the minute. So I need to kind of adjust my quantities accordingly. So yeah, that's a long way of me kind of trying to say, do I make 1 paper pack or 4, or, you know, yeah, so there's a lot to think about. But anyway, my next job this morning is to sort out my calendar. So I have this really pretty desk calendar that I got as a Christmas present from James. I asked for it because I found it on Etsy and I thought it was really beautiful. I really like the way they've designed it with the pattern around the outside, and then each month is blank, so you can write in your own month at the top and your own dates. So I'm going to use this, and I'm going to use wherever I put them. I've got some post-it notes. I'll find them. I've got some post-it notes, but what I want to do is like plan my days in half-day blocks. So like this morning this is my focus, this afternoon this is my focus, and then if like the kids are sick, like again, or we have grandparents away on holiday or whatever, or they can't take the kids for whatever reason, I can move around those little pieces. And I just want to get away from this constant feeling of like, oh, I'm working on the wrong thing, or oh, I've not done well enough, I've not done enough this month, and just be like, no, I will get to this thing, it is in my calendar, it is on this day, and just be like, I've put this as a priority, I will work on it then, and not get like distracted by, you know, like, oh, maybe I'll restart my Patreon again, or maybe I'll just do this. I don't know. I'm good at focusing on things once I pick them, but I'm not good at shutting out the mental chatter of like, oh, but you could or should be doing something else instead. So I feel like if I plan it ahead, maybe it'll be better, but we shall see. So this has been quite a long video, so thank you for following along with me, and yeah, I look forward to catching up with everyone again at the end of July, and yes, we shall see where the month takes us. So bye for now.